Hey there. So, yesterday... Hold on. Yesterday I was swamped with meetings. I work a 9-hour day. That's how I'm able to get that every other Friday off. Instead of 8 hours, I work 9 hours, and that totals up over 2 weeks to 1 full day off. And so on my 9-hour day yesterday, 8.5 of those hours were spent in meetings. And I want to tell you how, I know it's a first world problem, meeting anxiety, but I want to tell you how I dealt with that using some of the good life principles. But hold on, let me plug in where my next destination is. I'm working from one customer site to another. So there we go. My next site is 19 miles away. Pretty drive, I think. I think we're going to go through the mountains, kind of. I'm in a place called Lake Elsinore right now in Riverside County. Mike's ready to go. And I'm headed now to a place called Moreno Valley. I chose not to use a company car today because my last site today... get on! My last site today is near the edge of the county. I work in Riverside County, but I live in Orange County. It's near the edge of Orange County, so it's just easier to take the bike and then I can go straight home from there. But I gotta get lunch on the way too. I don't know this area very well. Okay, so let us go. Good life. Thank you. The good life is my daily activity to meditate and remind myself of my 7 objectives and 21 principles. Let's do them. Let's do them in fairly short order. One of them is called One Thing Slowly. So I'm trying to remind myself to drive and talk slowly. I need to do both of those at the same time. Just can't escape that. 7 objectives. The first is to be always ready to die. To be ready at a moment's notice to let life wink out. Now if I I live just on the other side of that mountain. I could, if I had time, I could get home going over that pass up there. But I'm going to another part of town, and boy, is it cold. Number 2 is a good and effective use of time. Just making good use of time through the day. Now I took the wrong way. Here we go. But the map corrects itself. Not waste my time. Number 3, the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. Just to develop and maintain these 7 objectives and 21 principles. To keep at it all the rest of my life. I'm really lucky the list will get smaller because of one of the principles that'll come up in a second. I don't think I'll be that lucky. Just not that diligent. Number 4 is the cultivation of good emotional reactions to react well through the day. Number 5 is the performance of good actions. Obviously, that's self-explanatory. Number 6 is the recognition of true limits and true opportunities. And number 7 is to do one thing slowly, as I mentioned before. The 28 principles. First principle of war. To go to war with myself. Be after my own ideas. Find out if I can make them better. 2 is the principle of reason. That's the one I was mentioning before. That's the instrument that I use to destroy the things that I think are true by critically evaluating them. And if I was really, really good, I could maybe destroy everything, destroy all 7 objectives and all 21 principles, because I am sure that they're unsound in one capacity or another. So if I just need the fortitude and energy and will to find out how. Next is the principle of Homunculus, the little mortal who lives in my head, will die with me. It's my answer to the idea of a soul. No immortality as far as I can tell. Next is the poem of good and evil. It's just a catalog of right and wrong, good and evil that lives in my head, that's maintained by that little mortal called the Homunculus. Next is purpose, biology, and virtue, to stay alive and get my genes in the next generation. And after that, really no other objective purpose. So I decided to, or no, not objective, but no other purpose that seems to be innate to our being. So I decided to make a purpose, which is well-being, which I guess is kind of innate, right? I mean, our species thrives if we thrive. it creates more of itself. So I strive to live a virtuous life. Gosh, I feel my mind kind of faltering away because I'm thinking about lunch. One thing, slowly, Kurt, stick on it. You'll have time to have lunch when you get to Moreno Valley. No lunch now. Okay, but what do I feel like? One thing, slowly, knock it off. So I'm going to stick with one thing slowly. Next is the atomic principle. Everything is bits and pieces, flowing and changing. Followed by the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, the way that it behaves, the way that it is, the way that it responds to things. Principle of maturity is next. It's a state that we can arrive at where we're able to remember our successes and failures and learn from them. The sub-principles are wisdom and fortitude. Next is the principle of social principle. That's what it is. Social principle. We try to be social animals, take care of one another. Next is the principle of public speaking. To live and behave as if the people I'm talking about are standing right around me, so I won't gossip about them. Next is the principle of the Feast of Offal. All the waste and byproduct of our undisciplined lives, unprincipled lives, spills out. Share our upset with the world, and it makes others upset, and they do the same, and it passes on one to another, feeding off of this disgusting, we lose our temper, fooling our emotions into the wind, upsetting all those around us. Maybe I kind of picked that up in Japan, at least a more rarefied sense of it. It's part of the Japanese culture. It's part of human nature, but it's also part of Japanese culture. Here we go, Miss Neat. So next is hold on, I'm gonna fix it. There we go. Next is that kind of shook me up in a good way. What is next? Oh, temperance. And the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Oh, I know where we are. We're gonna pass the big old rock. I think that's like painted like a split egg up here on the left. We're passing over the mountains, or the hills, really, between Lake Elsinore and a community called Paris. Not like France, but P-E-R-R-I-S. Temperance is our ability to control our consumption, like I said. And some principles are suffering, simplicity, and apathy. We suffer when we deny ourselves what we want. Simplicity is a temperate life. And apathy is our ability to recognize what is not within our control and apply apathy towards being indifferent to those things. Next is, after simplicity, or temperance, is the great life, agency and the great indifference. Life is our agents. Non-life, inorganic substances don't have the qualities of life in terms of caring or motive, will, or even love, and as a result, they have the indifference of a stone. Kind of see all the green out there, and even the brown. It kind of masks that. You really need to get out to a desert to really see that. A desert where there's not much vegetation. I'm going to move over a lane because I'm riding kind of slow. Close the hood. Oh, look, the ground's kind of wet. Looks like there was a rain shower here. Next after that is, that egg should be right up here. Split rock, just painted like an egg. if I remember right. It's been years since I've been here, though. Next is after there it is. There's the egg, or it's an apple. See, it's like apple slices right there. Isn't that amazing? Huh. So next is after agency and the great indifference comes. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking this so much time. The best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be okay with where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing. Next is the path of wildness, a way to get unstuck. A useful trick in your 20s or your 30s or any decade when you feel like your life is stuck and you want to move on to something else, but you just can't do it. Refer to the path of wildness as a way to get out and move. Next is the risk of avoiding risk, the deep level risk and the surface level risk of life. We can mitigate both through careful scrutiny of our interests and what it would take in our opportunities and what it would take to realize the interests in spite of or in light of these opportunities. The next is the sin and damnation. There are 5 sins in our worldview. My worldview. Falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, and dogma. And they're all about believing things that aren't true or may not be true, or can't be demonstrated very well to be true. We should hold those things in cautious reserve. And the consequence of that is damnation. You're damned to believe damned if you choose to live a life believing things that may or may not be true, that you can't really be sure of, to a reasonable degree. Not with absolute certainty, but to a reasonable degree. That reasonable degree varies from person to person. Somebody like me holds a pretty high standard. I try not to believe much of anything. Have more like an operational belief system, beliefs that I hold in the moment while I need them, as long as they're working, as long as they're demonstrating themselves to be worthwhile. Next is the complete oblivion. Complete oblivion, no final reunion with the ones we love after death, no final reconciliation, no final justice. It's just over. Better do it now. Next is after complete oblivion is, almost done. 3 more. The Great Life Adventure. Woohoo! Have fun. Good Hope. That's the name of a place. Wow. Good Life Adventure. The next one is the Season of Philosophy. Write down those words when they come. And then finally, the Arena in Utility. That's our life. It's arena for the exercise of these of our principles and objectives, which hang like utility tools on our belt. On our belt. What belt? Just imagine a belt around your waist but instead of a hammer and nails, you've got reason and apathy and temperance, things like that. So let's get on to yesterday's meeting. I started the day, I was so anxious when I got to work. I knew I was going to be just slammed. And these were just any meetings. These are my meetings. That means I'm running the meetings. I've got to make the agenda. I got to keep the meeting going. I was meeting right through lunch. And I knew that there was nothing I could do to really overcome that anxiety. So I chose to use nature, the principle of nature, to recognize that that is the nature of a project manager's job. Every so often, I always have lots of meetings, at least like 3 or 4 a day. But every now and then I'm going to have a confluence of some 3 or 4 meetings, and 2 of those are going to be 3 hours long. That's just the way it is sometimes. And it was a tough day, but it was a good day in the end. But as I made my way through, I used the principle of nature to recognize that that is the nature of my job as a project manager. I also used apathy to recognize what was and what was not within my control. It was within my control to make agendas and to make sure I sent out reminder emails to the teams to come to the meeting, and emails specifically to targeted individuals about their deliverables and what we'd expect of them in the meeting. And I did all of that. I literally exercised all of the steps that I would need to do that were within control. I recognized the scope of my control, and I used apathy to recognize that some things will be outside of my control. Indeed, some things such as technical failures or not having having a room conflict at the last moment. These things were outside of my control. But then I enlisted that great principle of temperance to tamp down my emotions as my anxiety rose throughout the day, as my fatigue wore in, and I sought to not let it overtake me and cause me to look and act and behave tired, and to allow me to change from anxiety to elation as I saw that the end of the day was drawing near, and I was pretty much getting through all my meetings pretty successfully, despite some failures earlier in the week. I was recovering and getting those things back on track. So this is an example of the anxiety that I felt going into the day, knowing that I had a tough day, how I managed that anxiety through the controlling what I knew I could and couldn't do, recognizing some things were outside of my control, and that I would let those be. I would deal with them as they came. And I would also try to keep an even keel throughout today, a stoic face going forward in spite of whatever came. And for the most part, I think it worked out. It wasn't an easy day. I'd much rather have been at the beach, but actually, no, I'd rather be at work, because at the beach I don't get so many opportunities to exercise such virtues like I do at work. What a blessing it is to have a difficult and challenging job. And I think I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll leave the camera on a little bit more if you guys want to see the rest of our little ride through Paris. We're about to enter Paris. This is the outskirts of Paris here. P-E-R-R-I-S. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Make it a good life, and be safe, but not too safe. Put all that on a business card. See ya. I'll leave the camera on. Oh, I wonder if that's good. Family basket charbroiled burgers. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, pastrami, salad bar. The windows look clean. I'm gonna have lunch there. That's it. Turn it around. I still got an hour until my next meeting. And that's Moreno Valley area down there. Well, that's actually something else over there. That's on the way to San Jacinto over there. This is Paris. Moreno Valley is way the heck over there. No U-turn here. I guess I'll have to go up and then go around. Wonder if I'll get a pastrami sandwich. I'm a big fan of pastrami, you know. Or maybe you don't know. The desert out here is so much different than Siberia. Look at all that green and brown. Like I said before, it just masks everything. All the stuff that I go to a desert for can't be seen. Which is funny and ironic, because the stuff I go to the desert for is the stuff that can't be seen. The great indifference can't be seen. Can only be detected, only be sensed. Gosh, that sounds touchy-feely. When did my mouth become so full of woo? But it's the truth. It's an emptiness in the universe that becomes apparent when we see past all this stuff. Especially when we see past our connection with everybody. I bet that market's got some good food too. Oh, I can't get over there. Oh, yes I can. Just go right over here. Here we go. Nice clean windows and an A rating. This place is for me. I think I'll have the pastrami sandwich. Oh, Mr. Police Officer's here too. Okay. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great day. Take care. Oh, the glass is all in. Lens is all dirty. Sorry about that.